Even Floyd, like when you make yourself like we got issues or anger, he's still the best fighter out there. Until somebody beat him, that's who he is.
Do you think he should step back in the ring?
I think he got to right now because the money gone.
So the money's really gone?
Yeah, that's what you think. It's fight, get the money, spend the money, fight.
All that money?
And it took been 2 years.
So is it just his overhead is so high on a day-to-day, month-to-month? Like
I don't even want to talk about it. Like with the lifestyle, that money's gone, trust me. Now it's like, you call him, he'll be at your local host in a nightclub because you need that action right now.
Wow.
Are Floyd's comments potentially in breach of contract? He could blow the whole fight up and never fight, and also have taken a cash advance on the fight he may not ever have. He's broke! I'm sorry. It's just the truth. Floyd is so badly hurting for money that this is the stuff he's doing. Knowingly signing contracts for a pro fight just to go and publicly undermine it while taking a cash advance. Essentially going, cool, I need that money now. Who cares about the fight?
Floyd Mayweather is now dealing with major financial pressure after reports claimed that the IRS placed a lien on his assets over unpaid taxes totaling roughly $7.3 million from the years 2018 and 2023.
Mayweather is being targeted by the IRS over unpaid taxes, with some of his properties and assets being held on lien until the full balance is paid off. And if not, said assets will be fully taken away. This report comes from Business Insider, but is also now being reported by Ring Magazine, in which they reveal that the IRS has filed a lien versus Mayweather in Las Vegas, currently putting a hold on Mayweather's Vegas property due to unpaid taxes stemming from 2018 and 2023 that have now ballooned to $7.3 million.
This isn't just a small issue.
This is not a minor problem being exaggerated. The government has reportedly stepped in and frozen certain Las Vegas properties until the outstanding debt is paid. If the issue remains unresolved, those assets could eventually be seized.
You think he's talking this trash because he wants a rematch? You think he actually wants?
Absolutely.
You think he wants a rematch?
Look, another reason why he's crawled out of his rock, he needs money.
You think he needs money?
Absolutely.
He's always flossy.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
He's always spending, so I guess.
Absolutely. Look, he's not fighting anymore, so that big money's not coming in. Look at what happened to Mike Tyson. He made what, $500 million?
Right.
You think you can't spend $500 million overnight? Absolutely.
You can't.
What makes the situation even more concerning is the timing, because it arrives while Mayweather is already facing growing questions regarding his business affairs and his upcoming fight with Manny Pacquiao.
It's like, Mayweather's broke. I said, no. He's like, no, really. Mayweather's broke. Now, I don't know if it's true.
Right.
This is what this guy told me. I'm like, how could he be broke? He's like, yo, he spends like crazy.
Yeah.
Spends like
I
crazy.
mean, it only could go but so long. I mean, and you're not fighting.
Yeah.
Because I don't see Mayweather even doing any goofy like
but you would think that your investments would continue to grow.
Right.
As long as you keep your spending under wraps.
Although Floyd publicly described the rematch as an exhibition, reports indicate that he may have signed for a professional contest, which could create legal complications if contractual obligations are not fulfilled. At the same time, there are claims that he used the same fight agreement as collateral for a loan, creating additional concerns about his financial position behind the scenes.
Is that what he's feeling? But he signed a real fight.
So it's for sure?
Yes, the contract that we signed is a real fight.
Real fight, okay. Yeah, because I know he said...
I wouldn't fight an exhibition.
No exhibition. It's either real fight or nothing.
Yeah, it's a real fight, yeah.
Is Spear still in Las Vegas?
That's the contract that he signed. I mean.
Yeah. So it's still happening then?
He has to remember that.
But it's still on? It's still happening?
Oh yeah, we did sign the contract already, so there's no reason why,
Why wouldn't?
Yeah.
All right.
The silence from Mayweather and his legal representatives only increases the uncertainty, because there are many factors involved and none appear straightforward. Whether the matter is settled quietly or develops into a larger legal and financial dispute, it is clear this represents one of the most serious challenges Floyd has faced outside the boxing ring.
Boxed everybody. I boxed everybody, and it's so crazy. Like, I had a lot of great days, I had a lot of bad days in the gym. but I tell them I never have bad paydays.
Dimitri Salita told me a story that one time a big heavyweight, a known heavyweight, challenged you. You told Leonard to go get your bag and you dropped him with the body shot.
In a boxing gym, it don't count. You can have good days, you can have bad days. You know, a lot of times guys do good in the gym. You know, they be happy. They feel like if you done good with Floyd Mayweather in the gym, oh, I want a world title. Well, you got to really look at this now. Slow down. You go home to an apartment. You know, I go home to a palace. There's a difference.
Now, Floyd,
you know, when you say your name, when they say these fighters' names, they say thousands and millions. When you say Money Mayweather, you say billions.
Just when everything surrounding Floyd begins to look like a paperwork storm ready to explode, Timothy Bradley enters the discussion, and instead of panicking, he essentially says, hold on, because this may simply be business operating exactly the way Floyd intended. Bradley is not blindly defending the situation, but rather viewing it through a fighter's perspective by suggesting those advance payments could represent leverage if structured properly. He hints that if Floyd secured money upfront and arranged things strategically, then changing from a professional fight to an exhibition may not be confusion at all. It could be part of a calculated plan.
I don't know if Mayweather did that, but you can. You can put a non-refundable attachment on this and be like, all right, you can, hey, I need an advancement for training. I need $3-4 million or whatever for training expenses. And if they agree to say yeah, and he put in a contract that is non-refundable, it's free money.
And I'm sitting here thinking that sounds like the most Floyd move imaginable. While everyone else sees uncertainty, Bradley suggests Floyd may already be several steps ahead, handling obligations, reducing pressure, and adjusting terms to fit his current reality as a 50-year-old fighter who is not interested in going to war unless it makes complete sense. But this is where things become complicated, because even Bradley admits that if you sign for a real fight, then you sign for a real fight. You cannot simply rewrite the agreement halfway through without consequences.
It's basically free money. So we know, Mayweather was, it's been reported, I should say, allegedly, that, he's been, a little upside down on some of his taxes and some of his properties. And he needed to come back and fight and take care of that. Well, he got some cheese from that advancement.
There is a tension where Floyd may be operating like a businessman while the system around him still expects a fighter. That clash is where things can become messy. Bradley even suggests that Floyd may have already addressed some of those financial concerns using the upfront money, which changes the narrative again because now it looks less like desperation and more like maneuvering. At the same time, the outside pressure remains. The IRS contracts and business partners are all watching closely. The question now is not only what Floyd wants to do, but whether he can actually make everything around him fit that plan. And knowing Floyd, it is difficult to completely dismiss that possibility.
I just know that money he received, I'm pretty out, man, damn it. I don't know for sure, but damn it, I'm probably about, I know I'm 85, 90%. I'm telling you, because I don't think he'll be doing this. This is business. So he's just saying, I understand it was a real fight, but now I want to change it. I want to change it now. I got my advancement. Now I want to change it.
Just as Bradley is breaking everything down like a business seminar, Shane mostly arrives with a completely different perspective. No discussion about contracts or percentages, just pure fight reality. And it carries weight because this is a man who has shared the ring with both fighters. Mostly is not making loud predictions. Instead, he sounds cautious, almost like someone who knows too much to speak with certainty. That honesty makes his opinion feel real. He openly says Floyd is no longer the same physically, perhaps a little slower and easier to hit now. Instantly, that makes you think Manny has an opportunity. But then mostly changes direction and points out that Pacquiao could be dealing with his own issues and training challenges. Suddenly, it feels like both men may be compromised. At that point, the fight becomes less about who is better and more about who has declined the least. I also like how Mosley revisits their styles because it reminds everyone what made this matchup so difficult in the first place.
Right now, Floyd's not the same Floyd that he was back in the day. So, maybe he's a little bit older and he's not moving as much. And you know that when you get a little bit older, sometimes you don't have the same foot movements, stuff like that, and you're able to get hit with certain shots. So maybe Manny has a chance to get in there and do some stuff. But Manny also has some complications with I don't know if he had some kind of stroke or something in the sparring and stuff like that. I thought I seen. So, I mean, there's stuff going on with him too as well. So, yeah, you know, we will see.
Manny brings volume, intensity, and non-stop pressure. Floyd, on the other hand, is the fighter who solves problems during a fight like he is working through equations. When Mosley says Floyd was the tougher fighter to deal with, but Manny was the harder puncher, that single statement explains everything. One fighter breaks you down mentally while the other tries to overwhelm you physically. Then Mosley casually mentions the moment he hurt Floyd, and you can almost feel him thinking if only he had stronger legs that night. That is the thing about Mayweather. You get one opportunity, and if you fail to capitalize on it, the chance disappears forever. Apply that to today, and you have older fighters, slower reactions, and a much smaller margin for error. Suddenly, this rematch no longer feels like unfinished business. It feels like an entirely different fight featuring familiar names. That is what makes it complicated, because people keep thinking about who they used to be when the real question is who they still are now.
The harder puncher was Manny Pacquiao, but the most difficult was Mayweather.
Okay.
As far as, you know, his IQ. He had a better IQ, but Manny had a harder working, you know, repetition where he'll come at you. He's working hard, he's trying to get you. Whereas Mayweather is more technical and will sit there and pick you apart.
And just when Mosley is analyzing everything from a fighter's point of view, Manny Pacquiao enters the conversation with the calmest delivery imaginable, and somehow it lands even harder. There is no hype and no noise, just quiet confidence. Manny begins by speaking about humility, discipline, and faith, and you think the discussion will remain reflective. Then suddenly he gets to the main issue. He essentially says, we signed a real fight and he received his advance payment, so what exactly are we discussing? I am sitting there thinking that is the cleanest form of pressure possible. No insults, no drama, just facts repeated until they become uncomfortable. While everyone else debates possibilities, Manny treats the situation as already settled, as if there is no realistic version where this becomes an exhibition without looking like a retreat.
You know, if you ask me, as a boxer, I don't need somebody to push me to work hard, work more, but I did. I always put that in my mind when I'm in training. I have to do extra mile to get that condition.
Then he doubles down while maintaining that same calm tone. No excuses and no confusion, just a direct message. That is what makes it dangerous, because it is difficult to argue with someone who is not emotionally invested in the debate. At the same time, he talks about pushing himself in training and completing more than 30 rounds a day while preparing as if this is a real war rather than a showcase event. That contrast speaks volumes without him ever raising his voice. On one side, there are adjustments, negotiations, and possible changes. On the other side, there is a man saying, I am preparing for a fight and nothing else. That is when the discussion shifts, because now it is no longer just about contracts or money. It becomes about who is truly committed to the fight that was promised. Manny is making it clear that he already is.
Purpose of exhibition that was long time ago, year after our first fight, but I didn't agree. And then I want a real fight. So he signed what I signed. He signed a real fight, and I signed a real fight. And he got his advance. So there's no reason to make excuses of that. So that's true.
When you put all of this together, it no longer feels like a single storyline. It feels like multiple layers stacking on top of one another until the bigger picture becomes impossible to ignore. On one side, there is financial pressure, the IRS situation, contracts, and business concerns, all raising serious questions about what may be happening behind the scenes. Then Bradley steps in and changes the perspective, making you wonder whether this is not chaos at all, but a carefully calculated plan. Maybe Floyd is still playing the same strategic game he always has, only at a different stage of life. Then just when you begin leaning toward that explanation, Mosley brings everything back to reality by reminding everyone that no matter how smart the business decisions are, the body still has limits. Timing changes, and this version of Floyd is not the same one who built that untouchable reputation years ago. Then Manny enters, calm, composed, and not even trying to win the narrative. He simply states facts as though they require no defense. Suddenly, the entire situation becomes even more uncomfortable, because it is no longer about who is right or wrong. It becomes about who is actually standing by what was agreed upon.
We all look forward to that fight. I mean, he signed he signed a real fight and he got his advance. So then now makes excuses, no?
And that is where everything collides. You have business versus obligation, strategy versus expectation, and legacy versus reality. Floyd may be trying to control the situation the same way he always has, by adjusting terms, protecting himself, and ensuring everything works in his favor. The difference this time is that there are too many moving parts, too many people involved, and too much attention focused on every decision. This is no longer just a fight. It is a situation where every move carries legal, financial, and public consequences. While Floyd built his career on staying one step ahead, this may be one of those rare moments where the pressure is not coming from an opponent but from every direction at once. The real question now is not simply whether the fight happens, but what version of Floyd we are actually seeing. Is this still the master strategist controlling the board, or is this a situation where things are beginning to slip enough for people to notice? On the other side stands Manny, steady, prepared, and completely committed, which only makes the contrast even sharper because one side keeps adjusting while the other refuses to move.
I'm doing exhibitions and I'm making 20, 25 million, 100 million for exhibitions. So why would I come back and fight and get a guaranteed 35 million when I'm doing exhibitions and getting 100 million?
Your thoughts in the comments and let everyone know what you think. Let's have a real discussion about it. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. See you in the next video.